When you start living with the end in mind, everything starts to change. What are people going to say about you? What message is your life going to speak when you're long gone? Because you weren't born by accident. You didn't just happen to be where you're at and happen to watch this video. There is always a reason.
Hello. Episode 100. I'm just going to share this on my private page and wait for some people to jump on, even though I don't have another guest with me today yet. And I will request that Caleb don't edit this stuff from this episode. We take the whole episode today as it is. What's up? Shilpa Wilson, good evening. Louisa, good evening. Susan, happy 100 episodes. Yes, I am actually very excited about this. I am. I'll tell you why soon. Okay, there we go. I shared it. Boom. That's kind of interesting doing a podcast episode myself. What's up, Sina, Rosie, Francis, Crystal? What's up? Acelia, congrats, 100 guests. Woohoo! I am happy about this. And I'm just going to wait for people to come on before I start kind of sharing a little bit and going into some of the things that I want to talk about and having some guests come on, surprise guests that you all want to hear from. But just waiting for Facebook to do its thing. Hey, do you remember a favorite episode? I'd love to know that. Do you remember a favorite episode? Maybe you remember the name of the person or the subject. If you do, why don't you put that in the comments? That would be awesome. Your favorite episode, if you remember. Darlene Mayo, awesome. Wolfgang Simpson, yeah, come on. Episode 50, when Kirsten came on. Hey, a lot of people love that episode, and I think you need to pray that my babies will go to bed so that my wife can come down. Okay, that's the goal. That's one of the reasons we pushed the episode time, because it is cool to have her come on. Owen Pullmaner, amazing man, amazing heart, amazing episode. Truth Seeker, that was deep. I know that impacted you. Curie, that's great. Chris B, probably one of my favorites. I've had him on here 3 times in the 100 episodes. The only person who I've had 3 times. And he's definitely an amazing man. What's up, Sajida? UK in the house. I'm just going to wait for a few minutes, okay? Because I want Facebook to roll this out and then we're going to get into it. Tyree, boom. Tyree's episode was so powerful, man. Tyree's one, his story, amazing. And just to see what God's doing in his life and done in his life, so powerful. Micah Turnbow, the mystical man. I love Micah. He's amazing. Terry Mortlock, yes, his story has set many people free, which is awesome. Sonship. Right. Rosie, yeah, I had the plans, and then, our children decide to play up with the plans on the day that they need to follow the plan. What's up, Rahira? What's up, Joel? Joshua, the wallet guy. Yes, Joshua Stevens. Amazing story. Joshua Stevens. I loved podcasting him. He's actually become a good friend of mine. And that's one of the interesting things about the podcasts, is that most of them have opened a door to a real friendship, which is cool. Another vote for Micah. Boom. Awesome. What's up, Nash Claire? What's up, Jeremiah? So we got a few people on. Sandy Kakowski. Yes, that was a great episode. Sandy got very real. Robbie Venter. Boom. Robbie is my boy. And the podcast was one of our first real conversations, So it was great. I'm waiting another 30 seconds, okay, and then I'm going to get into this. Joshua Stevens, another vote. Micah, another vote. What's up, Brianna? Great to see you here. Jan, great to see you. Wilson, good to see you on here, brother. I hope you're good. I hope things are well for you in India. Sending you lots of love. Chris B and Anderson from Trinidad. Anderson Williams, amazing man, amazing story. And he is a champion of heaven, doing a lot of work on the earth, unrecognized. Rani and Leslie, yes, they talked about their journey going from traditional to spiritual, and that was a powerful share, that one, having both of them. That was the first time I had two people on. Paula, what's up? How are you? All right, so this podcast is going to be a little different. Like, I'm just kind of flowing with it and whatever, and as I normally do, but there's no guests, so I'm just kind of going with me here, me and the Holy Ghost and our team, and just waiting on the right moments to bring in our team here quickly for a short amount of time. The podcast with John Tussey, he was playing music, or maybe you're talking about Steve Hampton, who played with the Bowls and the Plants. They had music on them. The Bowls guy, yeah, Steve Hampton, awesome man, Steve Hampton. Brian Orm was massive for me. It was a big lesson. Okay, so before I go into like the whole podcasting journey and stuff, I'm going to pull our team on here, okay? You guys know our team, and they love to be behind the scenes, so they're probably, nervous, requiring a nappy or something like that, but it's their time to be seen more and more and more, right? So I'm going to pull my team in here. And please join me in welcoming our amazing people. We've got Cailin and Caleb. What's up, guys? What's up, team? Yay! This is so good that I get to do something with you guys, at least even if it's for a short time. So just quickly, Cailin, why don't you just kind of introduce yourself, whatever you want to say.
Okay. Hi, I'm Cailin. I am 24. I live in Auckland, New Zealand, and yeah, I do the admin stuff and I love it. And I'm married to Jeremiah.
That's great. All right, Caleb, man, tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, so hello everyone. I'm Caleb. I'm 29. I currently live in Orewa, Auckland. So I'm in the part of the media team. So I do the graphic design and the video editing, and yeah, so the whole creativity side is my passion, I guess. Yeah.
Awesome. So, Cailin, I'm going to ask you some questions. Hey, and if you guys have some questions, throw them in here because I'm going to, So, firstly, I just want to quickly say, like, I couldn't do anything that I'm doing right now without these guys because they carry unique skill sets, and it's taken a while for them to start to see it, and we're still growing in it. We're going to keep maturing in it. Next 3 to 4 years, this is going to become a full-blown thing, more than what they see right now. But so Cailin handles all the admin, all the emails, all the things that make me want to put my head through the wall, all the things that make me feel like someone's stabbing me in the neck. Cailin likes to handle that. Without that, there's no way I could be doing what I'm doing. And then Caleb, he obviously has this unique creativity, and he's really good at what he does with Photoshop and editing in terms of videos and media uploading, all that stuff. But when I have an idea or I have a thought, I'm able to share it with Caleb, and he's able to bring it into reality. Like that Matrix post that you guys like that. I was like, hey, what about Mr. Miyagi? I feel like I'm Mr. Miyagi. Can you put me in this photo? And then he puts my face instead of Jackie Chan, right? So we all have a unique skill set, and I love that. So Cailin, let me ask you some questions. Okay, Cailin has gone.
Yeah.
Caleb, looks like it's you. Cailin's gone. So crazy. I'm going to ask you a question. Tell us what it's been like just over these last 100 episodes.
Yeah, it's been really good. For me personally as well, just so I've never done anything like this. I studied graphic design in school kind of thing, but I didn't think I'd be doing anything like this. So it's been like really challenging, but like it's really grown me a lot as well, just getting outside of my comfort zone. So it's it's been a great learning experience as well, like having to work in it with a team. I'm used to like doing my own thing. So like, yeah, when you're just like an artist, I guess you're used to just making things look good and without thinking about sometimes how other people might see it or how it functions for a business. So no, I've learned heaps. Yeah.
And
awesome.
obviously it's been great and frustrating being with me, and a little bit maybe Cailin, but a lot maybe me. Maybe you should touch on that a little bit.
Frustrating. I don't know. I don't see it like frustrating. I just like I get annoyed by myself. I think if I spend like a lot of time, I usually catch me spending way too much time on like the little finer details. And it's lucky to have someone like you see the bigger picture all the time. So you're constantly reminding me of like I'm spending way too much time on something. So like I get frustrated with myself because I'm like, I just wasted all that time doing that picture or that project or that post that no one's going to see or something. So yeah, I go down tangents. So that's probably like the most frustrating thing.
But do you see your growth in the 100 episodes?
Yeah, I mean, like it's been cool because I'm putting them all on YouTube and stuff and learning how the whole YouTube system works, and yeah, that's been really cool. Yeah, and seeing all the comments, like people getting lives touched and changed, has been awesome. Yeah.
Wow. So good. Cailin, what's it been like 100 episodes with Caleb and I, two guys who think very differently to girls?
It's been good. Yeah, like what Caleb said, there's been a lot of growth in the journey. I guess it's been a few years now, so all navigating through all the like things that come up, including like making mistakes. Like I've made some pretty crazy mistakes, and navigating through, and even as a team, just learning to, I guess, see how we all think differently. And also for me, myself, like coming out of a place of being so stuck in how I think, like my own kind of way of thinking, and learning to like you've really helped me in the aspect of like drawing out the gold in certain parts and then like refining other parts as well. But yeah, that's been really cool.
Awesome. Just want to ask, how do you feel about being called Caitlin a lot?
You know, it just gets to a point where you just get used to it. Happens, you know, every.
Those that don't know, that was Cailin's most annoying thing before we even started, because people would always call it Caitlin, and then it just kind of got worse on what we did.
Yep.
Funny. Boom, man. Hey, you guys have fans on you. These guys are all like, we love Cailin. Caleb, what a humble guy. Look at the comments. People love you guys.
Really?
I just want to, yeah, you have to click on the right comment section. You'll see it. I want to touch on the journey a little bit, like, because, you know, people are like, hey, I'd love to have a Cailin or a Caleb. Can you talk about the early days when we began from your perspective? Because when you guys finish here, I'll share my perspective, but I'd love to hear your perspective. And by the way, guys, we didn't plan or rehearse any of this stuff. So whatever comes, comes. So I don't know, Caleb, you want to go first or Cailin?
Early days, like, what do you mean?
The whole journey. Like, you know, people will see you now and be like, oh, I want a Caleb. I need a Caleb on my team. Can you talk through your journey, how you've moved into where you are now?
Your mic's going crazy. I don't know if it's just... yeah, the early days, I don't know how it started, to be honest, but I think I just quit my job and I was just like, I didn't think I'd do anything with creativity anymore. Like, I was just working at a print company after my studies. So I was like, yeah, I don't know, I was pretty lost. I was just like, I don't know. And then I think I was like, because you knew I was a technical guy, you're like, oh, can you make a video promo for me or something? I think that's how it started, like way back in the day.
Unbroken? Was that the first thing we did?
Which one?
Unbroken, that video.
Oh, man, it's like really scratchy, your mic.
Cailin, you want to say something?
There.
It's good for me. It's good here.
What was it?
Unbroken. Remember that video? Was that the first thing we did?
Yeah, I think that was the first one. Yeah, so that was like, I don't know how many years ago now. Yeah, but it's been a really up and down journey. I mean, I wasn't the full finished product when you found me, and I'm still not. But I think I've come a long way. Even just doing something like this, I wouldn't dream of it coming on live like this. So, it's been awesome to like God kind of reusing my gifts for my creativity again. Yeah, it's been really cool.
Awesome, man. Cailin, what about you?
It's actually hard to pinpoint the early days, Joey, because I feel like it started way back, like with, like back in the day. But I guess moving into more, I guess, the administration role, there's been a lot of ups and downs. And even like just with me and my journey and our journey and relationship and everything, and bumpy parts and navigating through a lot and that kind of thing. But in terms of the administration side, like there's been a lot of there's been late nights, super early mornings, lots of tears, frustration. I can relate to what Caleb said when he talked about the frustration at himself. Like I've journeyed through a lot in terms of that, like not when I make a mistake now, not beating myself up about it and just learning to see it as a growth thing, like what you talk about often, like the next stages of things. But it's definitely been like an up and down journey. But I think like being here today, it's like crazy. It makes me very emotional because I just just to see the ins and outs of everything. And like, if you're watching it from the outside, like obviously you don't get that perspective, but being able to see how things have morphed and even like to see even you, Joey, and also Caleb and like us as a team, like it's been really cool just to see, from the early days where things are now.
Boom. So good. You guys are naturals, man. We should do a whole episode just with us and they can ask questions, which they probably will want to know about what it's like working together and that kind of good stuff. Okay, so why don't we wrap this part with this? So, Caleb, what are you most excited about moving forward? Next 100 episodes. Do you see us doing 200 or 1,000?
Oh, gosh, I didn't even imagine 1,500. So, well, with Fuse as a whole, like I'm looking forward to, because you're thinking of doing the whole clothing thing, and that'd be cool. Like making the brands for clothes and stuff like that. Looking forward to like developing new my skills on new software and animation, stuff like that. And like any new video projects that we do. That's what I'm looking forward to, I think. Most.
Awesome. And Cailin?
I'm looking forward to, like, I do definitely see more episodes of this happening. But I think just because I think in this next season, it feels like a whole new sphere is almost gonna, open up, and I guess no one really knows what that looks like. But I'm looking forward to just the rest of the journey. It sounds really cliche, but like I don't know, it's really valuable to me. And so I'm looking forward to, as well as like the skills and the learning new things, because I know there'll be so many, and like obviously seeing so many more people like with their like lives transformed and stuff, but also just growing in relationship with you guys and just the journey and the team. And yeah, I think it's going to be awesome.
Boom. Was there anything else you guys want to say before we move on?
Here's to 1,000 episodes.
Let's go.
I just want to say I'm really thankful for you guys, and thankful for you, Joey, for just everything, and also to you, Caleb, for just this journey. I'm really excited to do this with you guys, and thank you for everyone who's watching as well.
Yeah,
awesome.
Ditto.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out. And now you're going to be behind the scenes hanging out anyway. So we keep moving. That was great. I think we're going to do more episodes together. So I'll talk to you guys soon.
Good.
All right.
See you soon.
See you guys.
All right. Well, that was so cool. I want to answer some questions here. Susan asked the question, do you both work full-time with Joseph? I guess in a way you can say that, you can say it's full-time. But let me now start the story, right? So in terms of Caleb and Cailin and me working together, the way this happened was totally a God setup. I was just in their life, almost you'd say discipling them, walking with them, just loving them, and this happened. It just happened. And during that time, God specifically was calling me to walk with them as they mature and morph in their journey. So he was getting me to call them out into who they're going to be next year, and then the year after, and then 5 years from there, and 10 years from there. He was wanting me to do that, many times. And they'll tell you this too. Like, I've asked the Lord, like, hey, you brought me supernaturally, you've brought me so many resources. God could have got me somebody who's 40 years old, 45 years old, has been doing admin for 20 years, has been doing video editing for 20 years and a full team. He could have done all of that. But there is a reason he's done it this way. So Cailin was in my youth group that I was leading, and she was like 14. That's kind of how a journey began. And Caleb became part of that youth group, and somehow they were always around my life to now it's morphed into this. And I've had to spend a lot of time to get them to see that they are a part of Fuse, that Fuse is partly theirs, that it's not just they work for Fuse. And it's taken time. It's been a journey, and I've watched them grow. I've watched them morph, and we haven't even hit pace yet. 100 episodes, but we haven't even hit it. They have so much more to release, and so do I. And so it's been an amazing journey. So those of you that said, I need a Caleb, I need a Cailin, I want to encourage you first, obviously pray, ask the Lord, right? But for some of you, you're going to find your Caleb and Cailin as raw material that you're going to walk with and work with and talk it out with. We've had a lot of tough times. Like the three of us, we have different personalities, we have different focuses, we have different things that we think are important, and we've butt heads many times. Many times we've wanted to quit. Many times we've been like, I don't know if I want to do this. And that's all part of doing life. That's why I always talk about doing life with each other. The good, the bad, the mess, the ugly, learning how to choose each other. So in a way, I became like a older brother / dad to these guys. And now we're building something together. It's not just I'm building something that they're a part of, and eventually I see what they're going to build. And I call that out all the time. So some of you guys, your team is in front of you. You're just looking at them the wrong way. And you might need to start pulling out the gold from the people in you to make them your team. So that's some advice I want to give you in terms of having a team. I've seen other people who have built just by, using just money and having a position and having a role to be filled. This was totally different. Like we're still kind of seeing what owning Fuse as three of us looks like, So I want to say that because there's not just one way to do this thing. And a lot of people get hung up on the right way or the only way. There isn't such a thing. So just for those of you that were asking about finding your own Caleb and Cailin, they're around you, man. You might just need to spot them and raise them into their next stage, their next phase, I also wanted to say, like, this podcast, I started it totally on a whim. Like, I didn't do the whole, let me search how to start a podcast. What are the 10 steps? What do you need? I didn't even know what Libsyn was. I didn't know how to upload, how to do anything. Podcasts don't need to be live. I didn't know any of that stuff. It was just basic God saying, I want you to do this podcast, go live and run your lane. And so I still have a photo of my first episode. And I did this in the garage upstairs. That was my first office. The garage upstairs, that was my gym. And it was also my first office. And let me show you that garage quickly, because people, sometimes that's me in that little 4 meter by 4 meter garage. That's me standing there next to my desk where I did my first episode. And if you look closely, you'll see these 2 wooden boxes. And I have a camera sitting on the 2 wooden boxes. This is why I laugh when people say things to me like, you need all the equipment and I need to get the right place and the right time and the right this and the right that. If you keep waiting, you will be waiting forever. You got to start with where you're at and what you have. And I still remember times where I'd look around in my office and be like, is this even an office? Like, it's a storage room / gym. And then there's 3 of us with our desks. and all our, like, all the junk shoved into this garage. Like, that's where, it began. And I'm not trying to say I'm something big right now, but I'm just tracking the journey. And the reason I should track the journey is, as a coach, I train every person who's a client of mine. I train them to celebrate victories. And me hitting 100 episodes with the same team and the same people is a celebration. I'm celebrating this moment. And it's not for anybody else. It's just for us to go, here is a mile marker. Let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. And so I wanted to show you that picture, because those early days, and now I have a nice Mac, and I have a nice camera, and I have a beautiful Yeti mic, and I have a 65-inch screen behind me. Like we've moved up. I mean, I'm not saying we're up there. We're going to keep going, but we've moved up from their garage. Like, I have a whole office purely for filming, right? So if you don't start where you are, you won't go to where you want to go, or you won't go to where God has for you, right? So you got to begin where you're at. So I wanted to share that. But then this episode, and if you have questions, just throw them in here, because I want today's thing to be a documentation, because I know we're going to go another 100 at least. But if we don't get to 1,000, we're going to morph and evolve into the next phase. And this thing's not stopping. Like, we're just getting started, So let me show you one more picture here. If you got questions, throw them in here. I'd love to answer any kind of questions, right? Even around podcasts and all that kind of stuff. So this is my first episode, and I was so scared. Right? I wasn't scared that I didn't know what to say. I wasn't scared because of the content, but I was scared because of people's reaction, right? 3rd of June, 2019. That's where this thing began, right? 2.5 years. I never pushed the podcast either, and somehow I've hit 100 episodes. I haven't even pushed it. Like, there are people who push it, every week an episode, and they organize everything ahead of time. I've just been flowing with God, right? And so this episode was a big deal because I just shared my story on there. And I had, 4,000 people or whatever watched it. And many of them didn't even like what I had to say, because I was speaking about Jesus as a peak performer. And they only saw Jesus as Savior. They didn't see the aspects of Jesus, the elements of Jesus that we're supposed to walk in, other than just that he's Savior, So I had to make a choice that day to walk out this narrow lane that God was showing me, right? Kingdom. Here is some questions. Let's pull these questions up. I'm thinking of using YouTube to begin. Is that wise? Here's what I want to tell you, okay? Nobody can tell you how to run your lane. You just got to run. So if I said to people, I'm going to do a Facebook Live, that's where I'm going to do my podcast, they would have been like, what are you saying? You have to pre-record and edit, and then you put it onto iTunes or Spotify. You don't do Facebook Live podcast. I didn't care about any of that. And I want to encourage you not to care about all this stuff. If you are sensing YouTube, then YouTube it is. YouTube it is, right? Go with the Lord. That is the greatest wisdom you can ever have, is go with the Lord and do not fear outcomes and people's opinion and stuff like that. Right? So that's my recommendation to you there, Dot. Go for it. How long did it take you to press record for that first episode? So I went live. I find it really easy to go live. And so I'd rather go live than record. And so that episode, it was easy. The challenge for me was, God, am I okay with you? Because I'm preaching a message. I'm speaking things. I'm saying things other people are not saying. Either they're too scared to say it, or I'm off. That was my battle. Either these guys are too scared to be real and raw, or I am totally deceived. That was my battle in that first episode. And I had to walk it out over and over again to get solidified. I hit 100 episodes now, but even recently in that Bowls episode, I had people say all kinds of things, like, why are you bringing new age people on and all this kind of stuff? And I want to touch on that. But the biggest thing I had to get over was, God, am I right with you? And do I choose that above other people's opinions or theology? Right? I had to choose walking with God over all of that stuff. So that was the biggest fear. Let me stop this. All right, there's more questions. Cailin, like, you guys don't have to sit around in the back room, just so you know, so you're free to chill. Where we are. Here's a question. What was one of your favorite episodes and why? Chris Blackaby was my favorite episode because I was so intrigued by what he was saying. You know, when I do podcast episodes with people, I am genuinely interested in their story. And I think that that is very different to some people who want to do podcasts. So I don't do a podcast for you. I actually do a podcast for me and I film it for you. So when I get a guest on, like, I really want to know, and they can feel that too. So when they come on, we have this energy, this synergy, they can feel it. I can feel it, they can feel it. And so Chris, I was really intrigued, so much so that I was making these noises like, and one lady complained on YouTube. She was like, Joseph, you need to stop doing that. She didn't like that. I was so into it. I was just responding like it was just me and him. I really loved all the episodes, right? Because they all taught me something. And I love most of them in terms of the flow and the synergy. So the way that I pick my guests is I let the Lord guide me to them. And so there are some people who've reached out to me who want to do podcasts, but I know we're not going to vibe. We're not going to synergize. So I'm like, we shouldn't do an episode. It's too hard work. It's not flowy, you know? And then there are some people I've contacted who don't even know who the heck I am. And God just supernaturally opens the door. So for example, Chris Blackaby, the day that I contacted him, I had just binge watched a lot of his videos. So I messaged him and I said, hey man, I watched these videos and this is what I thought and this is what I got. I want to talk to you. And he had just had a dream from the Lord that doors are going to open and he should walk through them. Till then, he was not doing any ministry. He was not doing any podcasts. So it was like 2 days after God tells him he can do stuff, Joseph Wilson contacts him. It was like this divine connection, you know, and we've become good friends now, like actually good friends. I consider him a good friend in my heart. So most of my episodes, I love them, but I have to say Chris B, especially the first one, and probably the second one were big ones. I want to say something else to you. When I do podcasts, I get so into the story of the person that my face looks jacked. Like my face looks embarrassingly jacked. If you have ever watched or rewatched episodes, if you can go watch it now, you'll see my face. Like I make the weirdest faces because I'm so into what Sandy Kakowski is saying that my face just is like I make this dorky ass face. So I don't care. And I think that's a powerful thing that we all must learn, is not caring about our unique expression, right? Who would you love to do a podcast with and why? Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. And there's so many people that I'd love to do podcasts with, right? My ultimate dream. Sorry, I'm giving you long-winded answers. I guess that's me. My ultimate dream is that I would have a venue and I would invite people to come hang out with me the day before, just like Joe Rogan. That's my ultimate dream. Then we sit down the next day and we have a 3-hour conversation about everything. And I have men of God and women of God that are not scared to tell the truth. Come on, and we just talk about everything. And we just chill out, talk about everything. And Caleb's in the room and he's pulling up stuff on the internet and we're putting it up there. That's my ultimate dream, right? And that's with every man of God. Like I'd love to have all these generals that are still around, like a David Hogan, a Bill Johnson, you know, ask them questions. I'd love to have people whose theology other people don't like. I want to know. I would love to sit down and nitpick these questions, right? But off the top of my head, the person I want to podcast at the moment is probably Bobby Connor. I don't know if you know Bobby Connor, but I really love that man. And he's in his 70s. He's a prophet. He's memorized the whole Bible. When he do prophetic words and stuff, he'd give you scripture and verse. Bobby Connor has the most amazing stories that I have ever heard. And I went to Australia from New Zealand. I went to Australia when he was here just to be there that weekend for a conference with him. And I got a chance to talk to him for 5 minutes, you know, and he looked me eyeball to eyeball and he prophesied a whole bunch of stuff over me. But that man, I would love to have a 2-hour, 3-hour episode with Bobby Connor because there would be some gold in that. So Bobby Connor, hands down at this stage. Boom, 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 boom. What was your most challenging episode and why? You know, you guys will probably already know this, but I had one episode with a person, and I do live episodes, right? So you guys know that this is live. There's no rehearsing. There's no editing. And I had a man come on who didn't really know me. He didn't know me that well. And we had one conversation before that, and he asked me questions. I answered all his questions. But somewhere during the episode, it flipped. And I don't know if I want to name him and all. You can go find the episode. It's still on there because the Lord told me not to take it off. But that episode was challenging because this man came at me and started to say things about me. And it was like an accusation. And I had a chance to respond or just leave it in God's hands. And I really liked how it ended, you know. I did my best to honor him and honor God in that interaction. But the challenging part is when you start getting attacked and it's live and, you know, it was good for me to see that I didn't have a fighter in me that wanted to fight this guy for no reason. So, yeah, that was it. And you can go find it. And some of you might already know. And if you want to put in the comments, you can. But when did you feel like the opinions and stuff weren't touching you anymore? I believe that, you know, I teach on purpose equals I am cycles, that you will go through this over and over again, just on different levels. So on my episode 1, caring about people's opinions was somewhere here, but episode 90 something is in a new place. You know, I don't know if you get over it in the sense that you never have that thought, but I think you get over it in the sense that you know how to rewire, you know how to respond. There are 3 things I teach people: find, flip, and forge. Find the lies. So when I get worried about people's opinion, what they're going to think of me is there's a lie there. And the lie I'm believing is that someone is going to validate me. Someone else is going to affirm me. Someone else gives me value. So I found the lie. I flip that lie, right? I flip it to only God validates me. Only God affirms me because he paid the price for me. Nobody else died on the cross for me. Nobody else paid blood for me. He did. So I flip that lie into I'm validated by God. And then I forge that. That becomes my new way of thinking. So anytime I have this fear of what are they going to think, I come back to I'm validated by God and God only. Right? And so it's a process. It's a journey that we all must engage. Am I still in touch with 208? Nope, I am not. I don't think you'd want to be. Do you have any supernatural things happen on your podcasts? Yeah, so that's a good question. All right, I will share one story that maybe many people don't know. So when I do these podcasts, I'm just like, Lord, I just surrender this time to you, right? I don't do some big religious prayer. Surrender this time to you, God. Take this. Let's go. So from when I connect with a person to when we have the conversation, we're just flowing. And I have some amazing guests coming up in the next 2 weeks as well. You don't want to miss these ones, right? And one of them is really crazy amazing. So be ready for that one. So I had this one episode with Johan van Rensburg, who is Prophet Kubus' son. Whew, I feel Holy Spirit right now just saying this, like I'm feeling the presence all over me. When Johan came on, the atmosphere in my room changed. And I think it changed because he's carrying something to do with his dad, right? If you don't know Prophet Kubus van Rensburg, you should go check out his stuff on YouTube. He's out there. It's crazy. He's not alive anymore, but his son, Johan, we did a podcast. And while Johan was talking about some of their stories to do with Prophet Kubus, yeah, I'm just going to say it. Like, I don't know any other way to say it, but I felt like he was in the room, like a cloud of witnesses, like he was in the room. And there were some things that happened in that episode while Johan's speaking that he was speaking to me that were pretty crazy. It just seemed pretty crazy. So yeah, I'm throwing that out there. I know some people now are going to take that and make it all kinds of craziness, but that was a very supernatural moment for me. There were many, but that was a big one that just comes to mind. All right. So all these questions, I think we've done a lot of questions. So right now I'm waiting for my wife to come down, which might happen any moment, right? Which will be awesome because you can ask her questions. I want to say in terms of you starting your own podcast instead of in terms of you starting your own things, you got to stop waiting for someone to come validate. Like, see this 100? There are some people right now who look at that and go, who cares? What's 100 episodes, right? Who cares about this guy? I don't care, right? There's people who think like that. Then there are some people who go, whoa, 100 episodes. Like, oh, I don't know if we'll ever do 100. Oh, how did he get to 100? Or people's opinions, other people's opinions mean nothing until you pull them into your realm. So I don't care about what anybody else thinks about this number. You know, I'm on my journey. I'm maturing, right? Purpose equals I am. And I want to encourage you. And people that you're training with me, you're coaching with me, let my life be a bit of an inspiration or some kind of motivation for you to keep moving. Keep moving. Whatever you're doing, if you're episode 5 and no one's viewing and you feel like it's a waste of time, no. You got to keep going because you're morphing, evolving, maturing into the deeper things that God has for you. It's actually not even about this. It's not even about Fused Life. It's not even about episode 100. Even though there are amazing things happening, there is a maturing that is more important. What God is doing inside you and me is more important than anything on the outside, right? And in terms of the outside, man, I've had people message me from all kinds of countries. I never even thought that they'd be listening, telling me how their lives changed, how they love the podcast, how they want to give me money. I've had some people, like now I have a good friend from Denmark. He became my friend because of the podcast, you know. I had no idea someone in Denmark is going to listen to a podcast. Like, you just never know what God is doing with your yes. If you're willing to say yes, you just never know what God is doing with your yes. So I like to play the long game. I don't play the short game. I've seen people use money to try and speed up the process. I don't want to speed up any process. I want to be in tune with the Trinity. I want to be in union and tune with the divine movement, flow, dance, whatever you want to call it, you know. So you got to embrace the maturing journey. Embrace the maturing journey. Will you interview an unsaved person, who don't know Jesus? Yes, I will. And from 100 episodes onwards now, my podcasts are going to change. There's going to be a lot more dialogue. I'm going to share a lot more of my opinion and probably ask a bit more like deeper questions. And I would have a Satanist on this podcast too. And I know some of you just now dropped your drink, or, you know, you're going to press X, or you're going like this to the screen, but I would have a Satanist. I want to know why you believe what you believe. I want to know what happened to you to get you to this place. I am not scared. And that's been a big thing for me to tell people, hey, don't get your theology from my podcast, man. My podcast is just stories about people. It's people's stories. It's their journeys. This is not your pulpit. Like, this is not my theology 101. This is not your church service. This is someone's story, you know? And I love that some of the stories are so crazy that we're like, oh, what do I do with that story? The Bible's full of stories like that. We've just gotten used to them. So I would have an unsaved person. I would love to have people who know how to flow. So that's my requirement. Do you know how to flow? I don't want people that are religious or people that are atheistic in a religious term, like they don't know how to flow, like their heart's closed and stuff. We can't, you know, I couldn't do anything with that. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. I would have people like that. That would be very interesting. Do I know the number of the episode, that rough one? Someone else will tell you. Oh, someone remembers the date. Wow. That's amazing. All right. There's lots of good comments on here. Did you guys have some questions or some subjects you wanted me to touch on just while I'm waiting for my wife? Let me message her, text her and say, we're ready for you. Maybe Cailin, you can check and send her the link if she needs it. That'd be great. What else did I want to say? Yeah, I want to say this. New age people, or people that are out of the box. I do podcasts with them because I want to know their story. I want to know how they got here. And then I want to ask them questions that make them think. But there are some people that I've done podcasts with. I don't agree with what they believe. I don't agree with their theology, and I don't need to. But what I do understand is there are people who've become so new agey in a sense, right? I use that term loosely, but they've become so new agey because they've never been given room to explore. Let me explain this to you, okay? So I believe, right? Purpose is I am. Identity, assignment, maturity. To the level to which you understand your identity, you have an assignment. When you engage your assignment, your maturity is revealed and it grows and it strengthens your identity. And you go into the next cycle, and the next cycle you grow from glory to glory. If you don't know what I'm talking about, join the Fuse Life group. I go deeper in there. Okay, so take that into account. I've met a lot of people whose assignment is new agey people. God has called them to do the things like use a crystal and use a bowl and use sound, frequency, vibration, and use these things. They don't use it outside of Jesus. The people I'm talking about, it's pure Jesus, but it's their assignment. They're called to those people because they're going to lead these people on the bridge into fullness, into Jesus, into the path, the way. But a lot of them have not had space to explore their assignment. And anytime they talked about their assignment, like if they said to their pastor, I feel God's calling me to the New Age people, they just got pushed. And they got pushed so much, they didn't know where to go. So they went too far into that stuff. And I know some people like that. And I believe they will come back around. They will come back around. But the reason they went so far is because we never gave them room in the family of God, in the house of God, to explore their assignment. So I believe that some people have an assignment to those people. But because they were kicked out of their family of God, their identity also went into that place. I hope I'm explaining it well. So instead of finding family in the house of God and the assignment with the New Age tribe, they started to look for family in the New Age tribe along with the assignment. And so it's mucked them up a little bit because we haven't made room. We haven't made room to explore the stuff. That's why. So some of the people I bring on, they're in that journey. Are they too far that way? Yeah, maybe. But they're finding their way around. And I can understand why they ended up there. Because we didn't give them room to explore that. Hold on, that's not my identity, but it is my assignment. So I'm going to go to these people. I'm going to walk with them. I speak their language. They're my tribe. But I'm bringing them into the reality of Christ, into the fullness of Jesus. I hope that makes sense. That's why I have people come on. And when I meet religious people who have no concept of this, like I meet people that say things like, oh, it's all about souls. But they don't care about family. They don't care about doing family. They don't know how to do family. They don't care about discipleship. They try and go and save every person by making them say a prayer, but they don't know how to be family with them. They don't eat with them. They don't talk with them. They don't hang out with them. They don't do life with them. They don't know how to do that stuff. It's become a religious practice. So this part of my journey has been learning that, you know, when people don't like what I say on here, or people don't like that I'm not angry, right? I had a podcast with two people that believe different things on end times, right? We had a fundamentalist and a preterist or a full preterist. I had two people I love. Both these men, I love these men. Even now, I love these men. At the end of that conversation, I got some hate messages. It was crazy. And then I had someone grill me for not telling this guy he's wrong on the podcast. Like, it was really interesting. You know, I had to learn this. I had to mature and learn this. Okay. Couple more things and then I'm going to pull my wife in. Okay. How did I meet Kirsten? Episode 50. You need to watch that episode. We went deep into our whole journey. Kirsten put her on the spot, and now she's going to be on the spot now too. She can hear me. But she's coming in from the computer because I guess the kids are not ready. So let me pull her in. Hello there, Kirsten.
This is so fun. Hello.
I almost wonder if you needed headphones because I was echoing a little bit, but maybe not. Is there anything you want to say to everybody?
Hi, team. Nice to see you. Sorry, I'm a bit late. We have had some awake people keeping me up here, but nice to join you.
Well, let me throw you in the deep end. We got a question here from Marta.
Hey guys, I just want to tell you about our Royal Hybrids group coaching program. Over a year ago, the Lord started speaking to me about a group of people, a tribe that would only get their value, their affirmation, that would only get their identity from who they are in God and nothing else. And from that place, they were going to do great things on the earth. In the last year, we have seen a whole bunch of people jump into our program, solidify themselves in their identity with God, and from that place start to engage their purpose. Fuse Life talks about the 6 trees: your spirit, your soul, your body, and then your relationships, your finances, and your purpose. We have seen a whole bunch of people come through this, get solidified in who they are, and then begin their own projects, whether it's a teen mums project, whether it's a coaching, counseling business, or a painting business, publishing your children's book, publishing a puzzle book. We have seen people do all of these kind of things, and we just know that this is just the beginning. So you want to go to www.fusebornformore.com/Royal Hybrid. Or just click the link in the caption and make sure to check out what we are doing. We would love to have you as part of our tribe. Now, back to the podcast.
That is a great question. How do you keep an enriched marriage?
Take it away.
Oh, wow. well, enriched. That's such a good word. I think mostly it just comes down to keeping communicating, keeping talking, keeping sharing your heart, and being real and honest, and making time for each other, taking time for each other when it's not so easy to make, prioritizing the other person if you can. And I think like even just like the simple things, encouraging one another often through the day and in front of people, and showing respect and kindness, showing honor in front of everybody. Like I think just real simple things like that, where the other person can feel noticed and blessed and taken care of. Like I think if you just do little things often, little things and often means you don't have to do gigantic things very much, and it still keeps things good.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that was so good. Well, let me ask you this question. You talk about in front of other people. What did you mean by that? Like honoring one another in front of other people? What do you mean?
Well, I think sometimes it can be kind of cool, culturally cool. I don't think it is, but like it can be the done thing to like say make jokes about one another, and sometimes there's kind of like a not so nice undertone to that. And I think things like that, like while they might seem okay on the surface, they kind of like tug away and draw you down, and especially like when you're wanting to be together and united and strong as one person. If you're like cutting down the trunk of the other person, that person's going to end up like not real strong, and not real feeling like they're valued and important, and that you care about them, and that you're proud of them. Like I'm proud of you. I love being seen out with you, and people knowing that you're my husband, and like I still get a kick out of saying that. Like, this is my husband. 11 years later, this is my husband.
Do you know what, guys? When we got married, that sentence gave Kirsten such a kick. Like all the time. Oh, it's my husband. This is my husband. And she'd love to look at her wedding rings. Like it's a legit thing. It's not making this up. But, an example, like not a personal example of someone, but we've seen many couples where a husband will joke about the wife, or the wife will joke about the husband. And it's a joke, but it's a joke with an undertone. And I think that's what Kirsten's meaning. Like, it's like you can chop your other person down in front of other people. Like it's you're in public. You're kind of backhanding your partner or your spouse, and we've talked about it a few times when we see that, and it's not healthy.
Yeah, it just feels sad for the other person.
Yeah. And what about communication? I mean, you're talking about communication, and like tell us some things about communication, Kirsten.
Well, I have learned the most that I've ever learned from communication from Mr. Joseph Wilson, because I think, would it be fair to say that communication comes easier to you than to me, or maybe you just put in more effort than I do? But I think like you often initiate the communication more than I do, but let me say that this year has been so good. I feel really like big because I seem bigger than you do. Should I be like this, and then we can be like matching?
No, you're good.
Okay. This year, with all this exciting world events and everything that's going on, that's a little bit controversial and deep, I think has been so good for our marriage, because we've had to talk and discuss and think about different sides and different points of view, and bring up all sorts of different things, and not agree, and then hear the other person and come together in some way and choose to still be for each other, and all of that stuff. I think that this year we've grown the most in communication, probably since the first year. The first year we grew the most because we were like thrown together and made it through. And but this year, I think it has been so good for us to have to navigate through some of that stuff. And I'm so thankful. Like sometimes there's been like some real hard moments and some tears and some, all of that good stuff thrown in there. But I'm so thankful that we've gone through that, like with all the COVID discussion and all sorts. And now I feel like we're like even more together than we were before.
Yeah, and I think I need to say this, like, doesn't mean that we agree on everything now, you know. And that's something I think people don't understand. We would tell people, like, we don't fight, like when we end up in couple situations and they'd say, oh, what do you guys do when you fight? It's like, we don't fight. We disagree, but a disagreement doesn't have to be a fight. And that's something we made up our minds on, like, disagreements don't mean fights. And so even now we disagree on, you know, some of these great Auntie Maxine and Uncle Vid issues. And I know that these issues are ripping a lot of marriages to bits right now, because when one person thinks a certain way and another person doesn't, they drop the honor and they drop the communication. And so, yeah, I agree. This year has been massive, lots of communication. And I do want to say, like, now you initiate a lot of communication too, which is awesome.
I'm learning.
Man, wow. You're such a natural, Kirsten. I want to ask you a question. How are you so beautiful?
Aww.
This is a fact. I need to know your opinion. Look, I'm putting you on the spot. If you were here, I probably couldn't ask you this like this, but now I'm asking, how are you so beautiful? Okay, so 11 years, right? I jammed with you for 11 years. If anyone is going to see you, like, you know, messed up, that's me. You gotta tell us how are you like that?
Well, I think that I can thank God for giving you some amazing eyes that just choose to see the best. So thanks, God. Thanks, Mr. Wilson.
What do you think is important when it comes to beauty?
Your heart.
True beauty.
I think it doesn't matter what you do to your outside vessel if you don't have a heart that, I mean, you don't have to have it all together, but a heart that you try your best to be pure and clean and honorable and, you know, all those things that I think are important. I think that then everybody has their own style of beauty. Like, it doesn't matter what you wear or what you look like. If you cultivate a beautiful heart, then you'll be beautiful.
That's a good answer. I don't know if everyone's going to like that answer, but that's a really good answer. Right,
Sorry about it.
Here's a question. What is it like living with Joseph when lots of people want his time? Hey, that's a good question.
It is a good question. Joseph is a popular man. So I had a crash course in sharing in our first year of marriage when Joe's phone would just go nuts all the time. And
sharing, sharing me.
Yeah. Sharing my time.
Okay.
And yeah, no, but to be fair, like, he's actually really good at putting aside time and making time, and I know that if I wanted to say something or if I needed him, then he would totally just be there just when I need him. So I know, and I also understand and respect that he has a lot of demands on his time. And so that's kind of part of being his wife, is that I understand that and I allow him the space to do that. I think is important. Like, I don't want to grow resentment or get envious or anything like that, because that's not going to help our marriage. And it's not going to help him. It's not going to help us feel good about each other. So, but Joey is really, really good at setting aside time and making time and giving me time as well. Like, that's something that we've worked on, honey, in the last, I don't know, years. So when I need some time to be child free, that I have opportunities now to do that, which is really special. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is again a marriage thing, but as we had our kids, and now we have 3 kids, I think in Kirsten's mind, because she is anointed to be a mum, and I never used to think that there was such a thing till I saw her mumming, you know. And a lot of people who see her mumming know that. So some of you guys out there that are amazing mums, like, you're anointed to mum, you know. And so because she's anointed to mum, I think somewhere she wasn't sure if she could have time off and could see me feel guilty about having time away from the kids. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I always say to you guys about strategy, that God gives us strategies. And one of the things that happened was I started to take the kids away for the weekend on a Saturday for a few hours at least 4 hours, 5 hours. And so she'd have that time to herself. And that's been really, really good, I think. What do you say?
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been cool to have that time where I can count on, like if I want to get something done, or, you know, if there's something that I feel like is kind of hanging over me, I can do it then. Or if I just want to go for a walk in the sunshine or on the beach or be child-free, then I can just be like, yes, it's great.
Or you can just sleep, you know, have a rest, catch up, you know. Like...
Yeah, that too.
Here's a question. How do you make big decisions together if you disagree with what you want to do? That's a good question.
That's a good question. We wait a lot, I think. So if something comes up and we have the option, then we will talk about it. And if we don't agree, then we will sit on it for a bit longer and ask God and try and, you know, listen for his direction or his guidance or his leading. And if we still disagree, then I will defer to Joey, because he is the man of our house. And
Dad, it's going to trigger some people. We should talk about that.
I'm sorry.
Let's now that we open that can, why don't we just quickly touch on that? So for me, right, and I know you can build your house how you want to build it, but for me and for us, this was something we even talked about in the early days, that if there was some kind of decision that got really, really rough or hard to make and we talked about how Kirsten would defer that to me or I would make that decision. And that did not make me feel powerful in any way. You know, some of you women might be like, oh, no. That made me have the fear of the Lord even more, you know. And to me, husband and wife, submission and honor and love, the man is called to lay his life down for the woman. And when she sees a laid down life, she can't help but submit. And suddenly it's two people going lower than each other the whole time. That is this journey of love and marriage, you know. So a woman, if she ever sees a man completely laid down, who will lay his life down for her, she will easily submit. She will easily, because to her, submission is not, he's trying to own me. It is actually, he loves me so much. This is the normal response. Just like with Jesus. Jesus dies for us, lays his life down for us, his bride. We see his goodness and we're led to repentance and we submit. We submit to God who died first. We don't submit to God who says, submit and then I'll die. He laid his life down first. And I believe that's what a husband's supposed to do, lay his life down first. Submission is never demanded. It's a byproduct of a laid down life. If you can remember that, then that's a game changer. So for us, we've had that. We've had many decisions that were like, she sees it one way, I see it one way. And sometimes I've had to make it, but then sometimes God supernaturally has intervened, right? Yeah. And maybe I use the example of when I went to America, like 3 years ago, a chance opened up for me to go to America. And I don't know if Kirsten was, you know, happy about that or thought I should go. I wasn't, because it was a lot of money and it was freaky. But I remember saying to God, my prayer was, if you want me to go, you need to tell my wife. You know, I'm not telling my wife. You need to tell my wife. If you don't tell her, I'm not going. I'm trusting you. And, you know, and I didn't care. And God did speak to her and she brought it up to me like, hey, honey, I think you should go to America, you know. So that's one of the examples. Anything you want to say to that?
Yeah, it's great. It's awesome.
Do you want to add to that?
No, I think you did good. I think you did great.
I think I want to say this. When husbands and wives make decisions together, they have to learn how to ride or die. If you're not a ride or die, if you're that kind of person that's like, when your husband makes a bad decision or your wife, you're the first one to slap them. You're the first one to tell them how they're so wrong. You're the first one to accuse them. If you're like that, then your marriage is going to be rough. And so I remember some decisions we had to make, and I'm sure she's had to make them with me, where it's like, okay, she's going to do this thing, and I need to let her do this thing, and I'm going to ride this out with her. I'm going to ride the slide with her. You're going to have to be willing to ride or die, ride the slide. If you do that, eventually you both build a bond that you don't fear a wrong decision, you fear separation. And fearing separation is a good thing because you want union. You are one now. So you learn how to make decisions together. That's the most important part of that. where you're willing to ride the slide, ride or die. And we've had to do that. And so what that means is, if this is a bad decision and I made it because you wanted to make it, when it's done, we both carry it. I don't keep reminding you 365 times in a year that, remember that thing you did, because we both did it. And I think that's a big
And there's no like, I told you so, or like, you know, where it comes back to be like, rah. There's none of that.
Well, thank God you're not a rah kind of woman. But Kirsten is like a hide and seek kind of woman. She'll go hide and I have to find her.
Do I?
Well, there used to be.
There's problems.
What if there's a subject you're too scared to open up in your, you know, with whatever you're dealing with?
Yeah, that's true. No, that's true. I won't even pretend.
I think we balance each other out well. Dot says she loves your laugh. There's lots of cool comments on here.
Where are you
Everybody's
reading
loving
them?
you, Kirsten. On the right side, there should be a comments bar.
Oh, it's blank. Hold on. I think I'm not in the right place.
Click comments, it'll come up.
Oh, that's fun.
What? Everyone loves you. Everybody just loves you.
Because
I'm
people
very
say
intrigued by that.
nicely about me, honey.
Yeah, but then they see you, you know? They experience you. Like, there's only so much someone can market someone. There's obviously something there. Here's a question. How was the process or journey of dealing with your husband being called to all kinds of Esthers? Ooh.
Oh, that is such a great question. And I so love it. Like, he is in his element, doing what God created him to do when he is drawing out gold in people and telling people, you know, showing people that God has just the best for them and that each person is individually designed for their purpose. And so I think it's just amazing. I love watching it and I love hearing how it's going. And yeah.
Do you ever have a fear? Do you have a fear ever that it could go wrong, or, you know, that I could build a connection with a woman that might not be healthy? Do you have this kind of fears or thoughts? And what do you do when you have that? I
don't have that. I trust you. I trust your heart. I trust God to take care of us. And I know that if I did have a thought like that, that I could, like you've already said, that I could have access to everything and anything of yours. So anytime I wanted to read anything, you know, that your Facebook messages or whatever, you've said that I have open reign to that. And I know your heart, and I know you're not like that. So it's not something that I've ever thought of, really.
Interesting. You know, just in terms of that subject, like, it's interesting. So all my stuff is open, transparent for Kirsten to use and go through anytime. But then we don't have a joint profile, you know, and I think it's very important to understand, you know, codependency, a codependent relationship, which can get very unhealthy, you know, where it's all depending on each other, and then an independent relationship on the other side where you don't even care what anybody, you know, what the other person's doing. And somewhere in between is this beautiful interdependence. And I think we consciously have been cultivating that, which has been really, really helpful, because now we're 11 years in that journey. And every year, every day, every month, it's only getting stronger because interdependence is the focus. So when we first started, maybe there was a bit of independence on both sides, maybe. And what would you say when we started? I don't think we were ever codependent, but maybe we started a bit more on the independent side and came here. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. I think I was probably more on the independent side than you were. So but it's been awesome becoming more. Oops, my other hand is holding the computer, so I can't move it. Sorry.
Did you both have a strong identity before you got together? Has it strengthened in marriage?
A strong identity in God? A strong...
Yeah, well, strong identity, I guess. Yeah.
As opposed to a strong personality, because I don't really think I have a strong personality.
I don't think she's meaning that. I think she's meaning identity in God.
Okay. Yep, I think we did. And, well, no, I know we did. And yes, it has strengthened in marriage because, like, you know, it says in the Bible how iron sharpens iron. And so we are together most of 24 hours. And we rub up against each other and we grow together and we deal with our character flaws together and we celebrate together and all of that stuff. So we are our own person, and we have had a really epic growth journey together. So I think that has helped to strengthen who we are individually as well as together, would be my consensus.
Hey, you talk about personality. I think that's a good thing to bring up here, because identity in God, but then personality is like, you are not a strong personality and I am a strong personality. And I've had to learn to meet you where you're at. And then you've had to learn to meet me where I'm at, you know? And I think that's an important thing to mention, is that I've had to make room for Kirsten to speak, because otherwise she won't speak. You know, it's not my job to only speak and not make room for her. Now, obviously online, she's not going to be as involved as me. It's not part of her calling, but whenever I can, I open this space, you know. That's the personality difference. And the other way around, there are times where maybe I need to simmer down or, you know, like when we're talking about a situation, she'll always show me the other side of the coin. And so even though we're so different in the personality sense, we can complement each other. And I think it's important to mention that if you're strong and the other one's not strong, you got to make room for that person. And if you're kind of, I don't want to say weak, because I don't think it's weak, you know, it's just not overt. And if you're like a covert person, then I think it's important to recognize the difference and learn how to foster that. Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think like part of that has been learning to speak and to share my thoughts, and to I think one of the things that you've done, honey, that makes it easier for me is that I can share my thoughts completely raw and unfiltered, and you kind of pick up the pieces and package them into what I'm trying to say. Like, so often I'll say something and I'll butcher it. It doesn't come out how I want it to. But you hear my heart behind what I'm trying to say. And so I think like as someone who, like you say, covert person, someone who doesn't speak, like is not such a strong personality, I think that I found that really helpful. So that I know that when I'm saying something, even if it's, you know, if it's going to sound silly or whatever, you're going to hear my heart behind it and do the best to hear through what my actual vocab is saying. So, yeah.
I think maybe another thing I'll say on that quickly is, like, we're all strong and not so strong, or covert in different areas, you know. Like, there are some things where Kirsten's so strong. Like, if there was a threat in my house, she would move so fast to what's the term I'm looking for, to eliminate the threat, you know. Like, if there was something going on or something needed fixing or something in the house, she's not afraid to say she's going to do it and get it done. So I think like there's different elements to that, you know, in terms of personality, except for rats. She won't bury a rat or a possum or a bird.
But you know what? No, we will. It's so great. Amazing.
Who would have thought?
In 2 weeks, we had how many? 5 rats and 1 bird.
Yeah, we had to give them a funeral. So that was fun. We live near the bush, just in case you're wondering, there's a bush behind us. Here's a question. How did you grow into being so discerning in relationships and friendships?
Oh, gosh, these are great questions. I think partly that's a gift from God. Probably, mostly that's a gift from God, really. And it's something that I've learnt to cultivate, I guess, through my experiences with people. And I don't know. That's a really good question.
It's interesting for me to watch what he's saying, because I've seen that in you and I know you have that. So like you guys, I always say, you know, Kirsten's my voice of wisdom. When maybe it's an intuition thing, maybe it's a woman thing, I don't know, but it's there, because when most times I think Kirsten can pick out an issue with a person or a situation quickly, right? Like, you just know.
Yeah.
Gift. Do we settle on gift? Gift from God?
I think so.
Awesome. Great. Hey, these questions all became on marriage quite interesting. Parenting. Here's another question.
How do you come together to agree or disagree? Great question. I think we come from a similar place, a similar heart, and sometimes the outworkings of that differ. And so we have different strategies for the same goal. So, I can hear the echo now. Before we had kids, we would talk about things that were important to us as a couple, things that were important to us as followers of God, as from different, because we come from different cultures, so things that we wanted to cultivate in our own family culture. And so we're quite open with the discussion around what's important. I think probably because I am with the kids more, I have, I've set the tone in a way for how I believe our family should run, or we would like it to run. And then Joey comes alongside, and if he thinks that we should be doing something differently, then we'll talk about it, or he'll just introduce whatever he wants to introduce. Or I don't feel like I'm really answering this question.
I think you did in the first part, because you said, the heart, we're coming from the same heart. And I think that's the real thing. Like, maybe sometimes we can get so hung up on what we're doing instead of where we're doing it from. And so in terms of parenting, how do you come together to agree or disagree? In any situation, I think the first thing is I come together on Kirsten, like not on the thing. So I need her to know that I'm on her side and I'm with her, and she needs to know the same for me. Like, I need to know she's on my side. And because we do that, then the decision's the easy part, I think a lot of times we can try and make good decisions and not be in each other's hearts. And I think that's the most important thing, because I mean, I'm sure we made so many mistakes, but because we make the mistake, we make them together, then we kind of ride and slide and figure it out as we go together. But the minute the decision becomes about what we're doing and not where we're doing it from, it gets really challenging, So even right now with some of this Aunt Maxine conversation, we have some different views on it, and we're having to ride this thing together. This is not about, are we going to do it? Are we not going to do it? It's actually about, are we together? And that, I think, should always be the focus. That's kind of my thoughts.
Yeah, those are great thoughts. I agree.
We've had people on here for a while now, and they are probably wanting to win some prizes, Kirsten. We have some prizes for people.
Oh, I wish I could help you draw them from the hat.
You can. I put numbers on here because I knew this was going to happen, and you could call out a number.
Oh, that's so fun. Thanks.
Amazing. Okay, so we got 6 prizes to give away. 3 one-on-one consults where we get on a phone call, you and I, and we work through anything that you want to work through for an hour. Or we have 3 merch options. So you can get tees. T-shirts are the fastest things for me to get to you, and I want to get it to you before Christmas. So you get a T-shirt, and it can say "Now I Am," or it can say "Kingdom," or it can say "Purpose Built." So you can pick, or "Born to Roar." So you get to pick out of a T-shirt, which can be black or white or gray, whatever. You can choose color option, or you can choose a 1-hour call with me. And for some of you, I know that call is not the thing you want. So that's why we've given you this option of a T-shirt. All right. Okay, Kirsten, give me a number.
Between what?
Oh, sorry. Between 1 and 12.
Ooh, what? So 50% of people get a prize.
Yeah. Okay. Those of you that are listening, the way you could get a prize was you had to do a live video for 1 minute and encourage people with some kind of word of encouragement and tag me in it. All right. That's what you had to do. A live video. It was nothing else. A live video. So 12 people did it, and I found them somehow. If you did that and I didn't comment on your video, I need you to write that in the comments so that I know, and I'll put your name in here too for the next prizes. Okay? So if you did a video and you didn't have me comment, then all right. But here we go. 12.
Number 11.
50% are winning. Number 11. Didn't think about how it's going to take me ages to find these numbers.
Just as well as that 112.
Yeah, just as well. Number 11
Dun,
is
dun, 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 dun.
Bethany.
Woohoo!
Bethany Tyler. Woo!
Yay!
Congratulations. You win number 1. So There are 3 of each available. If you can write it in the comments, Cailin's going to take note. If you want the phone call or you want a shirt, what do you want written on it? Boom, do that there and it's on. Okay, give me another number, Kirsten.
Number 3.
Number 3. We might need a drum roll. Can you do a drum roll?
Can I do it? Do, 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 do.
Great drum roll, honey. And the winner is Suze Spenceley from Waco, Texas. Woo-hoo-hoo! Congratulations. She's in America. I hope she chooses the phone call because the t-shirt probably won't get to her. Woo-hoo-hoo! All right. Next person.
Okay, here's my drum roll.
I need a number, Chris.
Yeah?
I need a number.
Oh, number. Oh, sorry. Wrong order. Let's go with 6.
Number 6 is Rahira. I don't know if Rahira is on here, but Rahira, congratulations.
Yay!
Prize number 3. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
All right, so just put in the comments or message Cailin if you know her with what you would like, the phone call or a tea. We got 3 more. How do we do this? Should I pick one out? Just pick one out myself?
Sure. That would be a good idea. You do that.
Thanks, honey. That's great. Boom. This is number 10. It's Bevy Hills. Somebody tag her because I don't know if she's on here, but Bevy Hills, congratulations. This is prize number 4, I think. All right. Susan, what's the time in Waco, Texas? You won this prize. What's the time there? Let us know. Come on, you're doing the hard yards. I should make it. You got to be live. Hey. Should I make it? You got to be live?
I think it's a bit late for today.
It's a bit late to change. Yeah, sorry. Okay, give me another number.
Oh, I can't remember what we've done now. Let's go with 1.
1. Susan has been up. It's 2 a.m. in Texas. Man,
Oh,
congratulations
my
for
goodness.
being up this whole time, Susan. You're amazing.
Wow.
You win the prize for that commitment. Number 1. Did we already do 1? No, we didn't. Number 1 is Derek. I don't know if Derek or Eva are on here. You might need to tag her and tell her to come on here soon. Derek did the video that I watched. Kaitapu, Eva. Someone please tag her. Boom. They get to choose. And we got one more. Cailin, I'm going to bring you on, surprise you, and then you... Sorry?
Oh, sorry.
I'm just going to pull her in. She's coming into this video. Do you know we can do that, honey?
No, how do I
Technology.
do that? Where do I see that?
You'll see her. Ta-da!
Hello.
Cailin, I need a number. Since you've been sitting around this whole camp, pick a
I
number.
don't know what numbers we've done. 8? Have we done 8?
8.
We've done 8.
We've done 8. No,
3.
we haven't. We haven't
Oh.
done 8. We haven't done 8. 8 is here. And the winner is Teresa. Teresa. I don't know if Teresa's on here. Congratulations and well done to all of you guys that did your live videos. I watched your videos and can I say that I've watched your confidence grow? A lot of you guys, man, your confidence skyrocketing. So thanks for that, Cailin, for coming on there and picking a winner.
Thank you.
I'm going to let you hang out in the back and get people's details. Thank you. All right. Well, those are some prizes. I would love to give more prizes, and one day I will. I have some big dreams, so hopefully that'll happen. Here are some more questions quickly. Joseph, you shared how God called you to help women. Would helping men in the same way be something you... Yeah, I know I'm going to do things with men. We're just waiting for the right time. I know it's going to happen. Right now, I think that a lot of the femininity that's been bred in men, especially in church circles and Jesus circles, is getting pulled. The pendulum is swinging into full-on manhood, and then it'll come back and it'll balance. And when it comes back to that middle or on its way back is going to be my time, right? Right now, there are many men God's calling to swing the pendulum from this ultra feminine expression of a Christian man or a kingdom man. It's going into hardcore manhood, and it's going to come back. And so in that time, so I will be working with men in the future. Crystal, thanks for that question. Cherie's got a question. How do you teach your children about God other than the way you live? Any tools? Take it away, Kirsten.
I I feel super stoked. Like we have books all over our house, all sorts of books. And our girls love reading, and they have just been pulling out the Bible themselves. And so we have like different stages, different ages, all sorts. And so I think one of the things that I found helpful is just having the books there and available for them to read. And like there's been a few times where all three of them have sat down on the couch together, chosen a different Bible, age appropriate, like we've got a 1, a 4, and a 6-year-old, and they just sit and they read. And then they talk about what they've read amongst each other. And, the Word of God is so strong. It is so cool to see and then to hear them talk about it. And, so that's one of the tools I think is having books, books that God can prompt them to read, and talking about some of the books. Like we've got a couple of books about heaven and what heaven's like, and just encouraging them to ask God their own questions and talk to God themselves. And like their relationship with God is so alive, and so getting them to just encouraging them in every part of it. And
just in terms of tools and stuff, like we don't particularly have specific kind of a program or anything that we do with them. We don't go to traditional church, so they're not learning a behavior watching other people other than us, So there are times where we play music, not just worship music, but we play music and we dance and we get free and we do that. And then there's some worship songs they really love. There's a Hindi worship song that they really love. Yeah. And but their relationship with God at this phase is very, very organic. We don't force them to do anything. There are lots of books that they can read, stories at nighttime, and they kind of choose. And a lot of times we found with all three of our kids, they've chosen this picture Bible and certain stories that they love, the parables. They love these stories. So they read it, and we kind of read the story to them, and they have an interpretation. They have their own unique experience, I would say. The other thing I want to say is we do bring Jesus in as a helper, as a counselor, as an advisor, as someone who's real to us. And that has caused both of our older kids to want Jesus in their life. Like I shared this story, but for both of our older daughters, at some stage, they had this moment where they were like, they wanted to know Jesus. And we had a real interesting moment with our second daughter, Zaya, who was just crying one day at the dining table. And she started crying because of the story of Jesus dying on the cross that she'd been reading so many times. But for some reason that night, she was like, oh my gosh, like she was weeping. Like it was so interesting. Mm-hmm. And then when I asked her, well, do you want, what Jesus did for us? Do you want that for you? And she was like, yes, like she totally understood something that I couldn't even explain in words, And so we say a prayer and she's like, yes, Jesus, I'd love for you to be in my house, something like that. And then she was at total peace. Like it was the most amazing thing. So I think kids, if you make it organic and natural, they see it, man, and they go deep. Like they go deeper than we talk, So they've started to pray on their own. They pray at night. They're praying for different things. They're praying for me. They're praying for Kirsten. They're praying for a house. They're praying for all these different things. So it's, been pretty cool.
Should I tell a funny story?
Yeah.
So our youngest is 1, and we have these books, and so one of them is Daniel, and he comes in, and the soldiers bring him in before the king, and in the book he's lying down on his tummy, and every time she sees that page she goes, oh, Daniel have nappy change. Daniel be nappy changing.
But you have to explain to them the nappy change to me.
Oh, you explain. Why? What's the explanation?
So whenever Nia gets an nappy change, she's lying down, right? So to her, anybody who's lying down is about to get a nappy change. So in this book, where Daniel's getting dragged into the lion's den, he's lying down. And so to her, it's like, oh, nappy change. Daniel's getting a nappy change. There's lots of funny little cute stories like that with the kids, obviously. Boom. Well, I mean, we've been going for ages, hour and a half, man. You troopers that have stuck around, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for doing life with us. We appreciate you. and appreciate doing life with you. If there's any more questions, throw them in there. Otherwise, yeah, we'll wrap them up. I mean, I thought I was going to say all this other stuff about the journey, but we didn't even kind of go to that. There we go. My 7-year-old has a question. She's listening. Oh, why don't they go in the same room? See, that's a smart child question.
So we have a three level house, and in the bottom is Joey's office, and the kids are sleeping on the top floor. And so if I was to be down in the office with him, then I wouldn't necessarily be able to hear them. And when I started talking, that one of them was still awake, so she would have called out. And so she wants to know that I'm close. So I'm in between to make sure that the kids are all good. But that's a really good question.
Good question, Miss 7. You are very smart. Boom. Well, we had 100 episodes, Kirsten. Do you watch all the content? Someone asked that question. Do you watch the content? What do you think of all the content? What are your thoughts?
There is so much content, and I'm sure it's amazing, but I have not watched it all, no. But well done, honey. Congrats. 100 episodes. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I mean, there's so there is so much that we're doing. Like, obviously, she can't keep track of everything, but there are many things in between that we talk about, you know, either before an episode, after an episode. I share the journey with her. I'm very big on communication. It used to be my biggest weakness, and God turned it into my greatest strength. So I'd rather over communicate than under communicate, and so I do my best to do that with,
you do it really well.
With her. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm going to wrap this thing up, but I'm just going to, anything you want to say before we say goodbye to you, and then I'm just going to wrap this thing up for 2 minutes.
Well, it's been lovely being here with you. Thanks very much. Thanks for sharing our evening. Thanks for enriching our lives. Au revoir. Love to you all.
Great. Love you. I'll see you soon. But guys, that's my wife. That's my life. That's my story. Real, raw, relevant, not faking, not pretending, not hiding. I'm done with that stuff. They got me in a lot of trouble when I would start telling people that we can be more real with each other, and they didn't necessarily want that, you know, but this is the path that I have chosen. This is our life. Like, we're not pretending. We're not trying to be anything we're not. This is where we're at. We're journeying. And, you know, I am where I am. I'm growing every day. That's the story of our marriage. We are where we are. We're growing every day. That's the story of our team, our Fuse Life team. We are where we are. We're growing every day. I'm super happy to have hit 100 episodes. I'm looking forward to the next 100. It's going to get more in depth, more fun, more controversial, more sparring back and forth. And it's going to be amazing. Here's a question. Would I ever have a Christian apologist come? 100%. I would love to. I would love to have people that have a heart. I've met Christian apologists who don't care about the heart, right? They're an apologist at an intellectual level. They know how to answer questions. They know how to share the faith at an intellectual level, but they don't have a heart for people, you know? I'd love to have a Christian apologist who has a heart for people, because they would be a wealth of knowledge, like a fountain of amazing stuff. So if you know someone like that, please flick me some links and let me see, let me connect. I'd love to have a Christian apologist who cares about people to come on. And I have to say that because I've met many that don't care about people. They care about arguments or debates. And I think it goes a bit crazy when that becomes the focus. You know, if a person's heart is not the focus, then yeah. So I'd love to, if you know anybody. I'm not looking. So, you know, just so you know, I don't go looking for podcast guests. I don't go seeking out. I just, whoever God shows me, I go there, because that's how I'm doing this podcast. How someone else might do their podcast will be different, you know? So you want to find your own lane for your own podcast, your own show, how you're going to do it. I don't know if I would go looking for someone, but, you know, now that you mention a name, I'd search that name. And, but if you know people, yeah, I'm open, man, for all kinds of conversations. Will be awesome. So that's us, episode 100. Chase your dreams. We're just beginning. It's only going to get bigger and better and more fun. Maya, who was our guest twice in the first 100, has been an amazing friend that I have made through this podcast. And as you and I obey God, you just don't even know the doors he's going to open for you. And the greatest thing, I believe, are the relationships, the connections. The most important thing in the kingdom are the people. The people. The king cares the most about his people. And so to make friends like Mayor and to meet people through, this online space is such an honor and such a pleasure. And so I just want to encourage you to do this. Chase your dream. Chase the dream that God put inside you, the desire of your heart, because that's a clue towards your purpose. And start where you are. Start with your iPhone. Start with bad sound. Start with bad graphics. It means nothing. All the people that care about that, they're not your tribe anyway, right? But start with a good heart. That's the content. The real content comes from your heart. So love you lots. Thank you for journeying with us. I can't wait for the next 100. And in the next 2 weeks, I actually have some really interesting guests, especially one of them who's, been a psychic for a while, a medium for a while, and then she came to the Lord. So very interesting. And then another man who's an undercover prophet who not many people know. He's in his 60s. I had a conversation with him. It was like a Morpheus conversation. And so I'm looking to draw out the gold from this man in the next week and a half. It's going to be great. Make sure to tune into that. And then there's another up-and-coming New Zealand prophet. When I say up-and-coming, I mean people are starting to get to know him. We're talking as well and going to do an episode in the next week and a half. So look forward to all of that. Love you guys lots. Take care. Bless you. And I will see you on the next one.
Faith and patience. Faith and patience. Patience means allow it to happen. Stay the same. Stay persistent. Keep going. Faith, know that it can happen at any moment. Get excited because it can happen at any moment. You were so close. Don't quit now. Keep pushing. You got this.